Welcome back, everyone, to episode 169 of the Lookout Podcast. I'm, of course, Meelz. I'm here with LJ. What is up, LJ? How we
Yo, it's
feeling?
good. I'm feeling good. You're back. Another week of alchemy.
Right. Look at us.
Look at us.
Alchemizing. You know what I'm saying?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have
Who would
thought?
have
You know
thought,
why
man?
I'm low-key kind of sour today? Because today has been the best New York weather that we've had in months. And I was like, I got
Global
a
warming
podcast.
scares me. It really does. And like our winter here has been, I'm talking about, like, it is so beautiful right now. For us, and it has been for like the past like few weeks. Like, this was like the warmest February probably ever. We had 60s.
That's nuts.
Like, it's scary. My dad, my biological dad that lives out there, he was talking to me on the phone, and I was telling him, like, yeah, the weather is is really nice here. He's like, man, you gotta enjoy it. I was just like, man, but what about the crops? Like, my mind can't enjoy it because I understand the implications of this stuff. It's really
What
depressing.
about the crops is crazy. I've never had to worry about that ever in my life.
Man, listen,
What about the crops is right. You know what? Fair.
what about the crops? I was just like, oh, I'm so sick right now.
What about the crops? You know what? That's something that I never even consider because I live in New York and it's like the crops are en route. It's not like they're grown here unless they're grown in New York State or some shit like that, which I don't think they are. But yeah, what about the crops? You know, fuck. Like, what about them?
He's
As
already
I'm,
dying. He was just like, he was like, you can't even allow yourself to enjoy. See, I think what really messed me up is that I have grown close to a few farmers. I've been to their farms and whatnot, and so like
farms. Wow,
yeah, I know we have farms here, and like they're not far out the city, probably like
that's
45 minutes.
crazy.
Like,
I've never
well, they're
been
like
to a farm in my life. Actually, I'm
you've never
lying.
been to a farm?
There's like local, but it's not like I'm assuming y'all got like big ass fucking farms.
Oh yeah,
That's what
we
I'm.
got like farms here.
Yeah. We got like local community farms, grown some shit. You know, trying to get back to Mother Earth kind of vibe type of shit. You know, but we don't have like big fucking farms. No.
No, yeah, we had like, I mean, cropping here is really big business, especially like beef, like cows, milk, dairy farming. Those are really big here. So I've been to like plenty of dairy farms. So there's a lot of cheese that's produced here. And obviously, Wisconsin. We When I was doing my butcher apprenticeship, I like part of my job was to go to the farms that we worked with,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of like get a real understanding of process of like where our animals coming from and things like that. So uh there's a lot of cattle farms, pig farms, chicken farms. I met a lot of the people that we get from there, and then obviously I just have friends whose family just own farms, so they just have just big plot of land and they grow so much stuff there. And like obviously there was farmer markets are huge here, so I would always go there and like build connections with people through there. So yes, farming is a huge thing. And so like when things like this happen, I'm like, God, like a part of me really wants to enjoy it, but then another part of me is like, once again, understanding the implications of
What
what
about the
60
crops?
yeah, what about the crops? Like, what
What
the
about
fuck
the
was 60 degrees in February, knowing that we're going to get a cold front in, I don't know, maybe a week or so, because it's Minnesota. Like, there's no way we're going, this is going to sustain. And so, like, what happens when that cold front comes, and then we get another, like, all that type of stuff that fucks with all the growing and things like that. So, yes, what about the crops?
Well, listen.
And that's my
Food,
tangent for the day.
yeah, a little food for thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, what about the crops? When you're out there enjoying, while we're out here trying to enjoy things on the beachfront, everyone going to City Island, everyone enjoying themselves. Think about the crops. You know what I'm saying?
Think about the crops and
Think about the crops
what
and the
this all
farms.
means.
Yeah, fuck, man. I didn't even think of that. Um, yeah. No, it's an incredibly beautiful day, but we're inside a recording podcast today, so that's just how it is. But the thing is that we've had like days that like are over. So the best thing is like we're getting like 50s now, so we've had days like over 50s but they've all been like rainy ass days. So it's not. This is the day to like actually enjoy it. I went out to run this morning. Not a successful
Nice.
run, but
Are you back on your usual?
I'm on working out. So I worked out 4 days last week because I'm
Okay.
unemployed.
Uh,
Don't clap. I'm
Sounds
unemployed.
like
The only way I could have done it is because I'm unemployed, and I have no responsibilities to anyone. So worked out 4 days this week.
can you become
Plus,
a fitness influencer? Come like a
no,
fitness anime influencer.
no. Give me some time. Let me get my body right, and then I'll influence the hell out of shit for sure.
But
But I
people
don't
like
want.
seeing the journey stuff though. That's
Yeah,
good.
but
That's
my
good
I gotta
stuff.
make sure that the journey is going in an actual like there's actual progression and stuff like that because the way my body works is just completely different than like I can gain weight I gain weight too easily and it's a bitch for me to lose weight. Like it's like you don't understand when I lost 40 pounds a couple years ago. It took everything for me. I was doing 2 a days. I was running. I was biking. I was lifting. I was thinging. I was doing everything possible to lose that weight. I was drinking shit. I was not eating shit. I was like, I gave up carbs that entire time. Like, I just wouldn't eat a ton of carbs throughout the day. Um, and it was a bitch to lose all that weight. But I did lose all the weight. Once it started going, it just didn't stop. But then eventually I hit my plateau, and that's when I kind of like gained it and then some. So I just got to make sure that I find the process to like get me going in one direction. And once I can do that, I can figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Um,
Nah, we all about health and wealth over here though.
I mean,
Health.
aren't we? Aren't we on the eve of the? We're getting close to the 6 year anniversary of this podcast. Is it 7? No, it's 6. It's 6. Um, I just lost to time. Definitely got to figure out health, wealth, and stuff like that. I don't. You haven't been on TikTok. I think I'm going to talk to Justin about this on the A show too. But I'll preview the conversation here. Um, TikTok has been promoting heavy for me these stomach pills to like clear out your digestion shit.
Oh, the have you ever been seeing the Mudwater ones?
No,
You've never
but go
seen the
on.
Mudwater ones?
No, go
That's big
off.
on YouTube.
Oh wow. Okay, no. I've been trying to be sold like get these pills. 15-day cleanse is what really it is. And you take these pills, you shit a lot, but you get all the shit out of your intestines and stomach and all this other stuff like that. And I'm like, do I want to do this? I mean, I got time. I ain't got nowhere to
No,
be.
please don't do that, please.
Why not? You don't
Just,
clear out your
just
system.
up your fiber. Just up your fiber. Get some probiotics. Your
Okay.
stomach can be cleared out in no time.
I'll just get fiber pills, I guess. Um,
Yeah, get the fiber pills.
I
One
tried to.
Martinelli's a day keeps you keeps you
Keeps me
clear, man.
regular.
Yeah,
Okay.
it keeps you regular.
Hey man, listen, I need to be a little regular. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, one Martinelli's a day keeps the constipation away.
I'm trying to be very familiar. You know what I'm saying with how regular I am. Um,
I feel horrible having this conversation because I just had a conversation with my kid about how like fart and poop jokes are not appropriate and how he not can't be like screaming
I
those out in public.
mean, but no, but they aren't. So
Now
that's
I'm over
just
here
really it.
having poop
It's
jokes
not
for
a thing.
dinner.
We're talking about fiber. We're talking about probiotics. We're talking about old people shit, man. You can't be talking about poop jokes and fart jokes, especially as a little girl out in public. It's not very becoming.
No,
But
like yeah, she's in that stage where like farts are the funniest thing in the world to her.
well, it's about to be quiet for that once she gets a little bit older. Can't wait for you to deal with a teenager. It's gonna be so funny.
I'm
Because
not. Well, I don't
I
know.
deal with a teenager and it's very funny. Not
Well,
always.
your teenager is cool though.
Uh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
I,
No,
I
you're right.
I guess I'll say your teenager is cool because I don't have to deal with them every day like you do.
Right. I gotta yell at a bunch of things and go about and tell her things and just my opinion isn't valued because she wants to do whatever her own thing and then it ends up being right and then I end up being right and then that's kind of like how it goes. But um after a while I'm just like, really? Whatever. But it's all part of the process. Trust me, it's all part of the process. Um, as we're learning things here, um, I don't have much anime news. The only anime news really is that pretty much Jujutsu Kaisen damn near swept the anime awards. So that was a thing. Won 9 awards. Um,
Every year, it's like there's really one anime that really takes over the whole year. And as much as people want to make it seem that there's a competition, like, oh no, like this thing has a chance or that thing has a chance, there's always one very clear cut winner. It was MHA a couple years ago. It's JJK now.
do you think we'll ever see the fall off of JJK's popularity? Do you think?
Um,
Because I feel like people are very like it's interesting because people love it, but I also feel like people begin to turn on things just in general. Um,
usually turn on things around season 4 of something.
yeah, I think they begin to turn on stuff. People already turned on Demon Slayer. People have already turned on Attack on Titan. People have already turned on. I mean, My Hero. They've turned on it. I don't think people have turned on. They probably turned on One Piece and came back around. I would probably say, considering how lengthy it is. But
I
I'm
think
wondering.
JJK might get out the game at just the right time because I think people are slightly turning on the manga. Um,
It's got a lot going on.
it has a lot going on. And I just don't know. Next season is a. I'll just say this: next season is a big season for them. If people do not bite the bait quick enough, for the culling games and the things that kind of happen right after Shibuya, the turn is gonna come. But if they're able to bite, if they get able to get people to bite the bait early, they'll be okay at least for one more year.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
going to be interesting to see if the audience continues to maintain throughout the culling games because that's essentially what happened to MHA, right? Like it had this big gap in things that were actually like important, and not to say culling games isn't important, but I think it's really just battles and there's very little plot advancement that is like massive. But then you
yeah,
get to the part where spoilers, this big fight happens pretty much near the end of it. That is like pretty much the peak of everything. We talked about it on the year-end show last year. But it's this big fight that happens, but will people even still be around for that fight? You know what I'm saying? Like we're
I think
reaching.
that.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I think that once I think this upcoming season is another big season for MHA. I think this is
I
obviously
don't
what
think it
people.
is. I think people have whoever is watching now is just watching. I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's going to be do exactly what it does every at
Do
this point
you?
in the last.
I
Yeah,
think
because I don't think people are care to tune in really until maybe it's done.
I feel that they really want to finish strong at least, and have a good showing. I think that the past 2 seasons were. What do you say? Like last season was a good.
Last
Like
season was good. I don't know what the fuck people were talking about. It didn't even
yeah,
get
last
nominated
season
for
was
any
good
award.
and
I
was a
was
good
so
trend up
upset.
for them. No, last season was a good and was a good trend up for them. Um, I think some of the hate they got on that one was really unnecessary. That's just kind of people. That's really just more people are like doubling down on it. Like like oh damn, I jumped on the MHA hate train, so like I gotta stay on now. So they're just gonna hate for whatever reason. Um, the season before, obviously, people were a little shaky about that. So yeah, I think I think that they just more so want to, like I said, end strong, continue to trend up. Um, I think that the people who are along for a ride or stuck on the ride, like they're gonna show up no matter what. And the people, I mean, there's the teeters. I think that's what the thing is. It's that middle ground of people who really are like, I don't know. I think if they can get them to turn back on the good side, they'll be okay.
I
But
agree.
anybody that hates on MHA now, like they're on, like I said, they're on that train for good.
I
They
agree.
got they've bought into the bit too much.
I agree. What are your thoughts on Megan Thee Stallion, who
Um,
was at the Anime Awards, pretty much heralded, pretty much, almost universally beloved. There's some like incels who probably don't like her, but yeah, pretty much universally beloved. What do you think about her proximity to the anime community?
I think it's great for the anime community in terms of I think she really has a pocket there, and she's a figure. Continues to figure out a way to like big that up and continue to be kind of a driving force in that area.
Right.
There's a lot of things that could be done.
Yeah.
Like I think she's just a. I mean, people love Megan Thee Stallion. Like regardless if you really like her music or whatever, whatnot. People love Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
Um, and I think once again, I think that this is a great pocket for her. I feel that her getting into it is going to allow other rappers and other personalities that are like really into this to get more involved. But the thing with Megan though is that like she's a real like anime head. Like she'll do the cosplay shit. She'll do the so I
She
think
pays
it's just
homage. Yeah.
yeah,
She's
yeah. So I think like for her though, it's like she has a real true fandom to it, and I think that even just makes it more enjoyable because like everyone knows like she'll pull out some deep cut shit, and you'll be like, damn, like she just put
yeah.
a B side on something, and so I don't know. I think it's just really cool what she's doing. Like I said, I think that the more she does it, the more it'll open doors for other personalities and other celebrities, other artists to go continue to do things like that. Um, which would be just be really cool. Once again, it's just a win-win for fans and not just like for black fans, brown fans, just see that like
Right.
it's cool, it's cool to see somebody that looks like us on stage at this award show, presenting and actually being like just a big attraction to it.
Right. I can't. I wish I could talk more about the McDonald's thing, but maybe we do in like 2 months. But
I just left
when
McDonald's too, and they had it all the
the
thing
McDonald's
plastered all over the
thing,
place.
I'll talk more about like my job. We got that thing. We got it like sometime last year about to be pitched for this thing to be part of like the content that's created for that stuff. Um, we didn't get selected, but I'll definitely go through like once this 2 months is up. Um, I'll go through my like selection process on like how the ideas we ideated for it, but also the McDonald's thing. It's very cool ode to anime. I don't think a lot of people understand it, but it
Oh
feels
yeah,
like
it's
McDonald's.
definitely now that's a super cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I feel like it's again McDonald's is kind of like they'll be when anime continues to like their rise continues throughout the years. I think they'll be credited as like someone who was like forward on it. But it's a super deep cut. Be it initially, well, fuck, I'll talk about it later. But that's cool to see. I haven't tried out the McDonald's thing yet. Maybe I'll try it out today. Who knows? Um, but it's great to see. It's great to see anime in these communities. One Piece just had this collaboration with Puma just recently. That's kind of dope.
Man,
It's
those are
good.
some of the no the it's the A6. You see the Naruto A6 ones?
Naruto A6 as well. Yeah, it's a listen. I love the. This is what I've always try to like. I try to pitch for my job because it's like a lot of nerd culture stuff, and like this is something that we can tap into, and I'm going to continue to be a major proponent for it because I feel like, to be honest with you, a lot of people don't know, and it's a big rising form of content, nerd culture, just in general. When you think about superhero movies, when you think about comic books, when you think about anime, all these are like growing genres, especially superhero movies where they end up being by default the biggest in box office for the year. So if we can do our part with continuing to pitch and continue to put nerd things in these places and people continuing to accept anime as a form of media as opposed to it just being like this very like nerd internet weird thing, I think we can continue to make like we can continue to do great things, especially with this podcast. You know what I'm saying? So more nerd shit. I'm always a fan of it. Shout out to McDonald's. Shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Shout out to A6. Shout out to Puma. Shout out to everyone supporting anime. Let's support this anime. Actually, I got a question for you before we head into this full. It's Full Metal Alchemist related, but I got a question for you that I brought up on Twitter, and I was trying to like kind of like figure out where it is. So we're going over Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is widely known as the GOAT. I'm still on the train that Attack on Titan is the GOAT. But we're just about halfway through this series. And I would love to compare where we're at in this show to where halfway in the series of Attack on Titan is, and kind of like just get a temperature of like which one feels better up to this point. Um, because we
What
learn
would be
a,
the halfway point for
I
Attack on
I
Titan?
I literally calculated it. I was calculating it as we are doing it. So the halfway point, not the halfway point for Attack on Titan. Actually, let me do the official halfway point for Attack on Titan, which would be actually episode 48. Um,
Shit, that's damn near season one still. I mean,
no,
fucking episodes is in that season.
it's season 3. Relax. Season 2 is very short.
Oh my
Um,
god, season one was like what, 27 episodes?
yeah. So we are halfway. The halfway point is for Attack on Titan is a Historia kind of like series, the arc, where pretty much they're still it's the first part of season 3 before they have the big battle. Um, it's kind of like learning much more about Historia's life and kind of like figuring out a bunch of things about Titans. Um, let me see. What's this episode specifically? It says by standard, they don't have a summary. 2 months have passed since Historia's coronation. Oh, Historia's finally queen. Okay. Um,
This is the moment where they touch? No.
no, it's not. That we're not there. That's the end of season 3. He was a
Okay,
Grisha
that's what I
when
thought.
Molinoria fell. So we're learning things. So we're essentially we go through. It's the part after he kills the. He goes into the ice cave shit and kills all the ice cave people and
Oh, and that's when Kenny, right?
yeah, the Kenny
When he
Ackerman.
tries to
So
kill Levi and
yeah. So
damn,
comparing,
that was the end of season two.
no, that's the first arc of season 3.
So
Um,
we're past that.
we're right after that. Yes, right
We're
after
right
that.
after that. So first part of season three, we do all that. They in the ice cave. Kenny and Levi battle it out in the ice cave.
Right, yeah.
And
We
then it's
just
right after
we
that.
ended we ended that. So we're here now. Comparing that to where we're at on this anime, I would say I mean obviously the pace for Full Metal Alchemist is moving much quicker than Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan actually took its sweet time with a lot of stuff. Um, I'm trying to figure out. So the big moments of Attack on Titan thus far would be the reveal um, that hey, we are Titans. Um, it is. Aaron, come with us. I'm the beast, I'm the armored titan, and this guy's the colossal titan, and actually you should come with us. So that part happens here. And I think we get a lot of reveals in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood too. The I think the biggest peak moment thus far is Mustang killing um Lust, I would
Yeah.
say. So I'm trying to figure out the highs, lows. Which one do you feel like feels better at this moment? If you had to say, like, who's winning the race currently at the better anime as we're at the 50% point of this stuff?
I'm trying to think.
It's been a while since AOT. I know.
Yes, it has been a while since AOT, and I don't want to be biased. I want to give an honest opinion on this, like, because it will be very easy for me to be like, "Oh, Full Metal, this is my
How
favorite."
about this? When did Attack on Titan start to like really hit for you?
Oh, it's season three. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I tell you this all like I tell you this all the time about how season three of Attack on Titan is one of the best seasons of anime ever. Like that is
So the first 2 seasons, you're not really wowed. You're not really like taken
the
aback or
first two
anything.
seasons are like cool. It's really the end of season two that like it really kind of goes, oh shit, like
Right. And so when
yeah.
do you lock in on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? Almost immediately.
Really after Hughes dies.
Mm,
Really after
mm,
Hughes dies, you're kind of like, oh shit. It's like,
absolutely.
oh,
No,
all
you're
right.
right.
Like, you're like, okay, like he's dying over this. Like, whoa, he done learned too much too quick. One of those type of things. So you really get locked in there. But I think that the I feel that Full Metal Alchemist is more consistent throughout in terms of
I could see that.
climax level.
Hmm.
But I feel that AOT
I feel like it's
when they hit their peak, they hit a crazy
right,
peak.
right, right. I feel like their peaks are higher in AOT at this point, but Full
But
Metal
I don't feel
Alchemist
that
is
they're as consistent though
right.
as Full Metal.
You know what? That's a great point. I love that point actually because I think that's the perfect way to kind of describe it. Um,
And I think that's what makes this conversation hard because those, like I'm telling you, like that ending of season 2, going into Kenny's, going to that like that shit is so crazy. Or you're kind of just like it's a you're so tuned in and you're so like on the edge of your seat, like holy shit, like who are like the introduction of Kenny alone during that
mhm.
first part of season 3. You're like, okay, this is such a great pivot from the Titan shit, but also how
Right,
it still ties into all the Titan shit
right.
and like how that all happened. So it, I guess it just really depends on how you feel about it, but I'll say that I'll give God because I mean these last few episodes, like I said,
These
from
episodes are pretty good. These
yeah,
episodes
no,
are
from
pretty
20
good.
to 26 is just like crazy as hell because
You
you
wasn't a
learn
fan of
so
the
much,
recap episode.
huh?
You wasn't a fan of the recap episode.
Oh
That's
no.
that's episode 27. I'll tell you about it. We'll talk about it when we talk about it. You know what? Let's hold the question for the end. How about that? We'll hold the question for the
I
end.
mean, Hodenheim's life story was cool, but I like told it was.
We
It felt
listen.
like filler.
We
It's another one of those like filler Buchanan series like things.
we'll talk about it. Let's
All
get
right.
into the series. Let's get into everything. So we last caught up everything that's happened in the last episode. Lust is dead, and the other homunculi are not happy because Wrath just let Roy Mustang get away. But they're like, "Yo, he's part of the plan." And I still one of the questions I have kind of like coming out of this is just like there are these people that are designated to be part of the plan. And the thing is, Miles, I also watched this once and don't remember a lot of the details for it. But I'm so confused about like these people who are part of the plan. Why are they part of the plan? Why are these people like maybe candidates to be part of the plan? And why does everyone else expendable? I think that's really a question hasn't been answered
I
yet.
think it
In
has
my
to do a lot with like how much they know in terms of like knowledge of alchemy, the Philosopher's Stone, their abilities as an alchemist.
mm,
Because you got to think of all the people that have been considered like candidates. Um,
Ed,
they're
Al,
all high
Roy,
level alchemists.
Marco. Yeah, a lot of
Marco Marco knows a lot about the no, yeah, pretty much he led the research on what a philosopher's stone is and how they make it and all that.
agree. But you know, it's something like I got to know the distinction, the hard distinction. But
It's like
um,
it's like in the NBA, like there's difference between a superstar and a guy who's who's good.
I guess here we are. Your man Gene Havoc is not dead, but he's
He's
out.
not. Shout out to Gene.
He's out of the game. This
Yeah,
is
he's done. He's cooked.
this might be the most realistic, in my opinion. Might be the most realistic fate for any anime character that's ever existed. Because niggas just don't get paralyzed no more. No offense, but it's like people get holes through their chest, holes through their back, all types of other stuff like that. And naturally, anything that demolishes your spine should leave you paralyzed. But most people live from it, especially in Demon Slayer.
Oh
Um,
man, Demon Slayer, they'll have
broken fingers,
30
broken
vertebrae
arms.
out of place.
Yeah, but you just total concentration breathing your ass out of that. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, listen, this is my last rodeo. I can't believe you dragged me on to this and I got paralyzed by my girlfriend. Um,
All this let us. He got stabbed by his girlfriend and let us know that Lust is Puerto Rican.
I love that. That's funny as fuck. So he's out of the game. But listen, now we got a lot of things going on, but their main purpose now, this section I call it, is Operation Learn much more about the homunculus immortality. Because we still not really fully, as we enter these episodes 21 through 30, we still not really sure like these homunculi, who are they, where do they come from, why are they there, all this other stuff like that. Like, I mean, part of us we know, but they don't really know, so they're trying to like figure a lot more out of it. And Ed has a plan, and I don't like when Ed has a plan because, to be honest with you, he's not smart enough to be coming up with plans. To be honest with you,
He's a yeah. He loves. He got the Megumi mindset. Scratch
yeah.
out, baby.
Um, Ed has a plan. He's like, we're gonna draw out these homunculus, and we're gonna find out more about them by luring out Scar. Um, it's a plan that eventually does work, but it's an incredibly reckless plan and leaves people, of course, kidnapped, stolen, killed, various people. Um, but nonetheless, I mean, they do the damn thing. Scar shows up, the homunculus shows up, everyone's there. Ling and Lanfan take on Gluttony and Wrath. Um,
What a crazy plan! Like, hey, let's set us up for bait with one enemy to attack, to attract all of our enemies
right, and
into
especially
one
and,
concentrated area.
and Ling and Lanfan just kind of have to like deal with it, like roll with the punches and stuff. They go up against Gluttony and Wrath, and they hold up pretty well until Lanfan gets injured. Um, Ling tries to stay in Wrath's blind spot until he reveals he has the ultimate eye. Shout out to the eye.
Shout to the eye.
A tattoo on your eyelid must be
Bradley is
insane.
Bradley is a what a character. What a guy.
He's. I'm
He's
still.
he's
Here's.
he's a funny villain for the simple fact of like
I'm not. I don't.
how
I don't have like a temperature on him yet. If it makes sense. Like I don't hate him. I don't think he's that despicable. He doesn't also. He also doesn't really like. I don't really fear. I know he's strong, but I don't fear him enough because he's out on these missions with these regular ass niggas, just doing regular ass. He's too
he's too
prominent.
overpowered.
It's not even that he's too prominent in this series thus far. Like he's everywhere. Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
the.
yeah. That's why I love about him. He's like the Grim Reaper. He's just popping up out of fucking corners.
But even the
And
Grim Reaper will like, mm, like you. I
he's
feel like
he's the Grim Reaper with with like no incognito skills.
he's
Like
the Grim Reaper with nothing else on his calendar. I'm like, you run a whole country. How is it possible you're here following these niggas all the time? Like,
like he's not being discreet. There we go. He's not being a discreet at all
no,
with
no, not at
anybody.
all, not at all. So they,
I think that's why I love him so much though, is because there's once again there's no finesse with him. He's just like kicking in the doors like King Bradley is here.
but it's
Like
also,
every moment.
I don't know. There's some I don't really fear him yet. I gotta. It takes some
But
time. I'm
also
like,
these next few I mean these series of episodes show why he is like that because there is a real villain behind everything.
of
Um
course, yeah. I mean, he's not the
that's
main
doing
villain,
that.
but he's the fear. Anyone who's called the Fuhrer should, to be honest with you, start setting fear in niggas because the Fuhrer is very like.
It's like he's
I don't
Pharrell
think I
and
don't think that
Father.
would run. I don't think that would plot out well today if this was animated in 2024. I don't think anyone's being called the Fuhrer. Just my opinion.
He's the Fior Bradley is Pharrell and Father is Chad.
No, all right, stop.
There's a prominent face here, but there's really someone behind the scenes.
Okay, that's wild, but sure. Uh,
I like that one.
yeah, man. Real? Come on, Furel? Furel? Like, what do you? Furel is crazy. Um,
Can we please? I don't care. Can the cover be some type of King Bradley for real?
Furel? Maybe we'll see what happens, man.
We need the. That's what
Um,
it is.
Lin Fan eventually takes her own arm and attaches it to a dog so they're able to escape and get Wrath off their track. And
You
I'm
know, no
like,
one just makes that type of decision unless you know that auto mail is just available for you.
that's very, very true. But also, this is why I don't think like King Bradley's that thing because he got tricked by it. Like, I feel like one, maybe I'm too like into. I feel like with if your shit is on your eye, I feel like you should be able to see these things that are coming. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you should be a little bit more omnipresent in this situation, and he's clearly not. Um,
Uh,
we got Ed and Al versus Scar, and that doesn't really do anything but reveal to Winry that Scar was the one who killed her parents in the line of war, and we get this backstory about Scar. We get Scar's backstory, which is cool. I like the little sprinkle in a little backstory every now and then. Sometimes these animes don't sprinkle enough backstory until niggas is like on their deathbed coughing up blood. Like
Yeah, they do a really good job with that, with everybody's backstory, really. Even like with, I mean, and now are obviously the main ones, but
we got
I
Scar.
love
I
how
think
they
we get
treat.
Mustang. We get Bradley. We get a couple people.
Yeah, Mustang Bradley. We even get Summer Winry,
Yeah,
um, Scar. Uh, there's one more. I'm
this is
missing
what I
on.
wish JJK would do, but apparently I'm an asshole for thinking that.
No, I
Um,
think that. Well, I feel that JJK, if they stole some of these elements, it would make the story much more. It feel more complete and feel more easily digestible than it is now. It's one of those things where there's so much shit going on.
and we don't
Like,
know that backstory for anybody, really.
yeah, you know,
To
like
be honest
there's
with
so,
you.
but we don't know the backstory of so many people, but their backstory is so damn important to the story because of like certain relationships and certain things, you know, certain connections, and you're kind of just like, okay, I know that this relationship or something is important, but like, why is it important?
Right. So, um, we get the history of how Scar came to hate the Emestrians and the state MPs. Um, Scar was, I mean, we get a bigger backstory. Like, we get they introduce this backstory, but they introduce the stuff that led up to it, but then we find out the stuff that led up to it later down the line. Um, but Scar was trying to get everyone to flee his country because the Emestrians are showing up and the state MPs are showing up and they're killing niggas. And Scar's brother, uh, says his research will save Ishval and defeat the state alchemists, and says Scar can only see that this research is going to be used for revenge and slaughter, the irony, and fought against the soldiers before reuniting with his family. Scar brothers give him the research notes just in case something were to happen to him, knowing that Scar has a better chance of surviving due to his training as a warrior monk. That was when the alchemist Solf J. Kimley, real if anyone's a Fuhrer, it's this guy, attacked and killed almost everyone, leaving Scar as the only Ishval survivor due to his brother, and giving him his right arm through alchemy to replace his severed arm so he could live. When they wake up, all he sees is the two Emestrians trying to save his life, and he's like, you know, get with God, niggas, and kills them both. And Renri's like, damn, you're the one who killed my parents, you asshole. And she picks up the gun and she aims it at Scar. And then Ed convinces her not to shoot and says, your hands are meant to give life, not take them. And, it's a very beautiful moment. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
listen, told her some real player shit in the moment.
A little bit, a little bit. That's what we got to use in real life, right? Like, your hands are meant to give life, not take them. I'm going to
Nah,
use that in
queen.
an argument. Yeah.
Nah,
um,
sister, you can't be doing that.
you can't be
I
doing
even
that,
put the
sister.
kufi on super tight during that moment. I feel it.
The battle shifts with Scar when Gluttony shows up and begins taking niggas out. And as he's getting the best of him, Ling emerges from the sewer and throws a bomb inside of Gluttony's mouth, blowing off his head, but he regenerates. So they transmute a railroad track into a
Hey,
steel wire.
let's give much love to Ling.
Listen, Ling is coming in. He's coming in hot. Um,
Listen, Ling got off like the line at 130 million miles per hour. Like he just started going crazy, didn't he?
I mean, he the prince. He's the 15th. What, the 15th prince?
You know,
Something
my
along
son
those lines. The
held his
Fresh
own
Prince.
against Bradley. You know, he came in with the fight Gluttony. Put a
He's doing work. He's doing work. He's putting it
he's
in.
putting in work, man. He's earning his
He's
keep.
becoming a strong part of this cast. Um, the MP show up and ready to take Scar, but Mei Chang and Zhao Mi show up, and the girl uses alchemy to make an escape. Mei Chang, how do we feel about the little girl with the little alchemy?
There is always a coolness factor of a little kid that's cold in anime.
Absolutely.
Like it doesn't matter what anime. If there once there's a little kid that pulls up and there's like you're like, oh shit, like this little kid can really hold its own against adults, you start cheering for that kid.
And she's out here to also, I think, also trying to attain immortality. Definitely Philosopher's Stone. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of people going after the Philosopher's Stone at this point.
hot
Like it's
commodity, man, in the black market.
um
What do you think the Philosopher's Stone will go for on StockX?
I feel like a lot, but also Philosopher's Stone on StockX. Shit, man. I would assume a lot. I would assume, listen, if the Philosopher's Stone, you don't even need to really worry about StockX anymore. You could just, you know, you
You
what do
can
they call
alchemize
them?
your own shoes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, you use some alchemy, create some shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really need that anymore. So I'm assuming it's going for a lot. I assume that's
If I
something you can't even
alchemize
put
some
on
shoes, are they
StockX.
technically reps? We need to get a let's get a StockX worker on the phone.
You know what? Fair, fair. I mean, create some shoes, destroy something else. You know what I'm saying? It's all alchemy. Um,
Should we call Rob and see what happened? What
that'd be crazy.
I'm gonna call him. Let me see. Yeah.
So they all head back to Central. And Winry's requested at Rush Valley because she's got a ton of customers because her auto mail value, is going skyrocket. The boys see her off and she feels like she's crushing on the kid. She's like, you know what, that Ed, he's short, but that's a king right there.
It's a
That's a
short king.
that's a king right there. I know that. He's Al doesn't realize it because he's got mad shit going on. So we get the big reveal to the group that King Bradley is actually a villain. Who fucking knew, huh?
Yeah, who would
Um
have known? The
and
guy that always pulls up and somehow magically appears when all the villains are around
right.
is
And
with the villains.
and he's a homunculi nonetheless. And his son is fake, and he's fake, and everything is fake, and they want to extract Gluttony's philosopher. I mean, the group who has kidnapped Gluttony at this point wants to use Gluttony's philosopher stones for their own reasons. But once Gluttony recognizes Mustang, he pretty much digivolves into some big belly weird eye thing. Um, okay, so then we transition to, you understand, this big plan now is a major transmutation circle using the land and the people. They this is what we've been speculate. Well, there's been speculation. It's like they want to make this big transmutation circle. Not really sure where it's going to be. We're going to find out literally probably the next time we do these set of episodes. We're going to find out where these transmutation circles are going to be. Because that's one part I do remember. But this is all becoming dangerous. Anyway, Gluttony is on the loose. He's got his stomach is now a mouth. He's got the eye in it. So Al, Ed, and Ling are left behind while Mustang, Knox, and Hawkeye flee from the scene. And Hawkeye offers a 15-year-old a gun to protect himself, which is the first. I was like, wow, what a flag. She's like, take this, use it if you need to. I'm like, why are you giving him a gun?
Well, my thing is, you're giving him a gun like he doesn't know alchemy.
This is what I'm sure he could probably come up with his own gun, sister.
He probably come up with like a bigger gun than this too.
Well, listen,
She give him like a deuce.
is
Like that
he?
ain't doing nothing.
Yo, does fucking Momo in My Hero Academia, is she an alchemist?
Whoa,
See what I did there?
you did.
See what I did
She
there?
would probably, yeah, she would survive this world.
She would absolutely. She doesn't have to give up anything to create stuff.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
chilling.
I don't know. There's a little. She got like she has a stamina thing
I
though.
mean, there's a stamp. I would assume that also is the same thing with alchemy as well. Like, I think it's a physical thing that you can't just abuse over and over and over and over again. But listen, man, being able to create things from your skin and apparently titties is just part of the
Oh man,
game.
another thing about this series: There's no egregious titties.
No, no perverse action yet. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
none. There's a little bit that gets on that happens later.
I have to check it out. I guess the lust thing is the only like, and I even think that was a little bit consensual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a
Um,
little. That was a little. I feel that was very tame in comparison to what it could have been.
I agree. Um,
And
and
like
we
Oda, if Oda had to like draw lust,
this is true. This is true. It
different
would be
story.
yeah. It would be a
Different
different story.
conversation here.
Everybody would have a giant breast. Something along
Yes.
those lines. Everyone, no one's the best part of this series for the women. They're strong and their breasts aren't the attention of the series thus far.
Yep.
Um, so we got that to worry about. Um, Envy also joins the battle with Gluttony at Alan Ling, and while this is all happening, Mustang gets back to the office. He's back at Central, and he meets up with Lieutenant General Raven. He's like, "What's up, brother? How you feeling?" He's like, just trying to be like you. You know what I'm saying? Um, and he mentions a joke. He's like, "Man, it would be crazy if the Fuhrer was a homunculus, right?" And Lieutenant General Raven was like, "Come with me." So when they walk to the office, and he tells him to tell that joke again in front of all the state military execs and none other than King Bradley himself. And that is when Roy Mustang realizes that Hughes wasn't worrying him about the problem is beneath the state military. Is that the problem is the motherfucking state military. The whole game is corrupt. It's all part of the system. Everybody is a crook. How did you feel about this kind of reveal? This is a big reveal that it's actually all this is coming from legitimately the state
The
alchemist
source
himself.
itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like we're literally watching it unfold on real time. I love how like this moment truly once again
There's a lot of
lets
tension
us,
building up to this moment too.
yeah, very much so. I just love how this moment truly lets us know how high the stakes are.
Yeah.
Um like obviously we've known that there are very high stakes throughout this series. But like understanding that it's not just King Bradley acting out on his own or with a few couple core, whatever. It's like, nah, the whole system, the whole higher ups are all in on
The
this.
whole Eric Adams, everybody is in on this,
Yeah,
man.
listen, Mayor Allen's definitely gonna be in that room
You know what
being
I'm
mixing.
saying? They call me the homunculus nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like all this other, my guy. Um, I'm not really a homunculus, but I'm not gonna tell them what to do. You feel me? Um, so yeah, that's my
Oh
Eric
my
Adams
gosh, a
impression.
pumpkin nigga is so fucking crazy.
Uh, let's get back to Inside Gluttony. Um, would you eat a leather boot? I'm not even gonna ask it. I don't even put another option. If your life depended on it, would you eat a leather boot? Because according
Yes,
to the series, a
absolutely.
leather boot is edible. Is this correct?
Well, technically, because leather is made from animal hide, so
Mm,
that's why
got me.
it's an animal product.
Got me there. But they
So
probably
yeah,
use a lot of
technically,
chemicals and stuff and dyes and shit, probably.
yeah. There's I mean, yeah, there's definitely a process to it that would the base is an animal product. There's a lot of things added to this
So you're
that make
saying
it
like this
that
is like eating like chicken skin kind of vibe.
essentially. If you want to let's break it down to the simple alchemy level. Yes, that's why it's edible because
Okay.
it's made from the skin and hind of an animal.
Well, Ling and Ed are eating a boot because they're stuck
He
in.
alchemized the boot. Probably
Yeah.
turned into I
Well, they
don't know.
heated up the boot and everything, man.
Yeah, they did.
They threw
Listen,
some
they did what they had to do.
adobo on that bitch and figure that shit out.
Mm,
Um,
they made leather boot pepper pot.
you know what I'm saying? A little tough, but when when you boil it down, it gets a little soft. Um, Envy also joins them because he also got swallowed by gluttony, and he does the super villain thing where he reveals and admits to all of his crimes. And we find out another big reveal in this situation that it was indeed Envy who was responsible for starting the war in Ishval, where he was disguised as a soldier, not just any soldier. He was disguised as the one soldier who was against the war in Ishval. And they show the clip. He literally just pulls up and shoots a kid point blank in the head.
Yeah,
Like
I know. It was funny because they were like, "Oh, it was an accidental shooting." I'm like, nothing about this is an
that didn't
accident.
look accidental at all. He pulled up at the he
Just gun to the
kicking.
head.
Yeah, it was just
Crazy.
like, what if I kill you? You know what I'm saying? Completely kills the girl. It spurs the events that leads to the Ishval, and I mean, we'll learn a little bit more about it a little later on. They get tight at him. Envy transforms into his true monstrous form. Um, they battle him. It's this big like lizard thing with faces on the side. Like it looks
which
actually kind of
which is
gross.
another whole big reveal in that moment, figuring
Yeah,
out that all the citizens of Xerxes.
are just part of him now. I was like, damn, you are really evil, you know? Um, Nonetheless, they battle until Ed realizes that pieces of the ruins of Xerxes are in here. And because he's like, oh, that looks like the upper half of the shit that I saw when I went to that thing that one time. And
You got a great memory because like
I
he
wouldn't
remembered
have
all the symbols and everything.
I wouldn't have remembered it. I would have. Do you need to take this call?
No, I do not. I don't know why my phone's blowing up right now.
Okay. All right. Just letting you know. If you need to take the call, you could take the call.
No, it's that's
Um,
two different people that just called me.
Oh wow. Okay. Um very popular.
I
Let's
don't like
see.
that.
As someone who has their phone on do not disturb all the time, I'm surprised the phone calls get to you.
Um,
You
only
have the
because
bypass. Yes, yes, I know.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. They're important people. Um they battle Philosopher's Stone. Oh yes, they need Envy's Philosopher's Stone to help get him out. And rather than so eventually they're like, we don't want to use a circle from Xerxes because these mad people who didn't deserve to die. He was like, I'm going to create a new one. And they eventually do create this new transmutation circle, human transmutation circle. They jump into the eye once again, and they arrive at the stone door at the gates. And there's two doors now. And one of the doors, he sees a very feeble, weak, malnourished looking Alphonse. And he says, damn, I want to reach out to him. But before he can reach out to him, he's like, no, 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 no. You can't have me. You are not the soul that this party is looking for. And all these little black hands show up and start pulling him out. And he gets in front of the door. And then you see the door open again. And then he's just like, no, I'm going to get you. And da da da. I will
the
save
greatest
you.
meme ever. Shout out to Rob once again for making that picture into a capper meme for me.
I love it. Shout out to the cappers.
Shout out to the
Um,
cappers.
but I did love that moment for sure. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
So
like
this is
once again, these are the first. This is 121 to 126. All this happens. Like,
21 to 26. I'm like, not 121.
yeah, not 120. 20 to 20. Why do I keep saying that?
I don't, because you in Mangoville, man.
I
You're
am.
crazy.
Manga has ruined me.
A little bit, a little bit.
I think
Um,
I need a support group.
Absolutely. Let's see what we have here. So he sees the body, and he's like, I mean, he's happy. He's like, wow, at least his body exists. That's all I care about.
Very malnourished. He looked
Very
like 50 Cent
malnourished.
in that one movie where he lost all that weight.
What an insane thing to do. Never could be me. Out on the outside,
Figuring out that 50 Cent's a method actor is the greatest thing in the world.
it's really good. Could potentially end up in, live action Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Hey, who says no? 50 as as King Bradley, as Furel. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with that? Back on the outside, Al follows Gluttony because Gluttony is like, I want to take you to my father. So they follow and they find it. The the home base for all of this is at Central, and he's like, what? This is crazy. Um, Scar and May also end up there as well. Back in the office, King Bradley lets Mustang know that it is clipped. I literally have that in my notes. It's clipped. He says the homunculus have been in control of Amistris since the beginning, and he reveals that his whole team is getting transferred. He was like, yo, your man's is going north, your man's is going south, your man's is going west, and I'm taking your girl, and she is now my personal assistant. And then he also tells a story about how he became King Bradley, and it feels very like Promised Neverlandy. Um, I was the best student in class, and I was the only one, that survived the Philosopher's Stone of Wrath. And because I was able to do it, they gave me the name King Bradley because you a king. You know what I'm saying? Like Ti. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's how you became. You get the little, you get a little backstory. You don't really feel sorry for him. I mean, you should. I mean, kids being taken advantage of and being used as some sort of a tool
Yeah, no,
and
for sure.
weaponry. Definitely a
There's
little
like
sad. But he was also like,
there's a hint
I'm
of
King Bradley.
sadness in his backstory, but when you hear him talk about it and you see how he acts about it, you're like, oh, like who gives a fuck? Like he
Yeah,
doesn't care.
also none of the other characters, I'm assuming the characters also heard this and didn't also didn't really seem that sad about it. So if they don't care, why should I?
Yeah, no, I'm
Um
like, I'm not gonna feel horrible because he was like even saying though, he was just like the most wrathful soul in this is the one that took over my body. He was like, so I don't know if it's somebody else's or just what my true soul was when you know when I was me. But
right.
essentially, you don't get no damn. You just like, hey man, this thing happened, and this is why I am the way I am, and this is how I'm rocking. Love it or leave it.
Absolutely. So we get to episode 27 and it's a recap episode. And I'm going to tell we talked about this prior, but let me just say something. When there's a lot of shit going on, I can appreciate a recap episode. I can
Sometimes
appreciate
you
it.
need it.
And I felt like they did a great way of interpolating the events that happened and giving us a little backstory on Von Hohenheim. You know what I'm saying? And also, I think Father was there too. Father was wilding out a little bit himself. But I appreciated that little backstory. And it gave me the question if you knew something bad was going to be happen, because clearly this nigga knew everything that was going to happen. Um,
Oh yeah, Honenheim knew.
Yeah, because he said at the in the last batch of episodes, he told little lady Rockbell, he was like, "Yo, something bad about to happen. I think you should leave." And she's like, "Oh, I'll stay. Can't be that bad." Um, it was indeed that bad,
It
but
was very much indeed that bad.
nonetheless, like we here. Um,
Yeah, no, it was a. I do agree. Is that when I think sometimes you got to know how to shift gears. And this was a great once again a great moment because 21, 26 was that's a lot.
it's a lot.
27 we pumped the brakes a little bit. Hey, here's some refresher and also some new info.
Absolutely.
Couple different things happening here. I think you bring up a great question of like if you knew something bad was gonna happen, like how would you
Would you do
handle that
something about it,
situation?
or would you just sit there and just be powerless to the situation? Um, I think that is what is going through the mind of Mr. Van Hohenheim. But I think it was a great thing. We don't really see Hohenheim for the rest of these episodes for a while, but it's great to like remember that he's part of this thing. Either way, we get there and we meet none other than Father himself, Big Daddy. Um,
Big Papa looks like Hohenheim.
looks like Hohenheim, which is nuts. I don't know if they're twins. I don't know if they're related. I forget if he just steals his face. I forget what is going on, but I'm sure I'll find out
It
later on.
reminds me of you ever seen uh Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
I haven't seen Ace Ventura in like 25 years.
Hohenheim and Father just remind you of Finkel is Einhorn and Einhorn is Finkel.
um, that's funny. Um, so they reach Father, and at the same time they reach Father, and he sees Al and thing. Um, Ed, Ling, and Envy jump out of Gluttony in a very violent way. And Father's looking at them. He's like, "Oh, you're the Elric kids. That's crazy. Let me fix your armor. Let me fix your arm. Let me fix your ribs. Let me do all that." And they're like, "What the fuck is going on here?" He did not have to give up anything to do all this other stuff. He is on a next level. But Ling is like, he ain't healing me, and I don't trust him at all. I don't. And Ling tries to get at Father, but Father's like, "We don't like your type over here." I felt like it was a little. I,
There's definitely some undertones.
it was a little undertones because only the The Asians and the brown guy are the one who are targeted by this guy.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
not.
Listen,
It's not. You know,
it's very xenophobic, bro.
I'm not loaded it. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I see it. I see it all.
You
But
don't. Yeah, he's like, I don't like no communists, and I don't like no Muslims. I ain't banging with them.
eventually, he was like, let's turn Ling into a homunculus. Let's get this Ling out of here. And Ling is like, yes, this is what fucking I've been waiting. Philosopher's Stone, give me this shit. Very Majin Vegeta. Um, he's like, I'm willing to take Philosopher's Stone. Don't
It is
fight.
very Majin Vegeta because for the simple fact that this next form of Ling is better than the original form of Ling.
I agree, but also
Greedling is a cold piece.
Greedling is cool. Greedling is
Very
definitely
cool.
cool.
Very cool character.
I also feel like
4PF Greedling.
what was I gonna say about Greed? Oh, it's like they ain't really even give him a new Philosopher's Stone. They gave him some used shit. I was like, what? This is nuts.
Yeah, they definitely gave him the used Carsman cell.
Yeah, I was like,
They're like, man, listen,
oh, it
yeah,
was
it may have
greed.
150,000 miles on it, but
I was like, oh, it's just greed. It's just greed. Come on now. It's just greed. Um, so Ling is new greedling, and that's what we'll call him. And father starts recreating gluttony, and everyone begins to escape because shit is terrible. All the Scar and stuff like that, they seem to escape, and the boys are taken off because they don't want to kill him. So they're like, everyone else escape. We'll stay here because they don't want to kill us. Um, the boys are taken to the room with Wrath, and they send the room with Mustang, and Ed is like, I became a
I
state
ain't trying to do
alchemist.
this shit no more.
Right. He's like, I became a state alchemist to learn more about this shit, and I find out you niggas is fake and corrupt and all this other shit. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And Wrath is like,
I
what's
did
her
not
name?
sign up for that shit. He was hot.
And King Bradley was like, oh, her name was Winry, right? Like Winry Rockbell? Doesn't she live? Where's she at right now? The Rusty? Don't worry about it. We'll find her. We'll
Rusty
find her.
Taco.
Yeah, you don't worry about her. We'll find her and kill her if you leave. He's like, damn, I guess I'm stuck. Wrath stabs Al's armor, comes out clean, which is good because Mei and Xiao was hiding in his body. They head back to the Knox house, who's the doctor and all this, the very compliant doctor, very patient, compliant doctor, to check on Lanfan and her one arm. And her and Mei almost get into it. And I respect Mr. Knox here because he was like, yo, don't get that shit out of my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm here taking care of you. I got no bed on my own to sleep in. Got this young Asian girl in my bed. Got this another Asian girl on my couch. I can't find nowhere to sleep. I ain't never had women in this house before ever since my kid and my wife left me. And here you guys trying to start beef in my crib.
I
Not
feel
on
it.
my
Protect your peace,
watch.
King.
Absolutely.
Protect your peace, King.
Listen, come on, man. I'm out
He
here
said, I'm
doing
the
all
one that pays rent here. Y'all don't pitch in on nothing.
I'm out here doing all types of illegal activities. Y'all not about to fuck me up. Scar runs into Marco. And he's like, oh my God, Scar, it's you. Oh my God, I'm the guy who killed I'm responsible for killing your entire clan. And Scar doesn't kill him on the spot because he's like, listen, let me know what happened. Fill me in. You know what I'm saying? Lend me an ear. I'm here. And that's when we get the last episode of this batch, which is the history episode. I feel like it's a cool down because we just saw a lot of shit. Just got revealed with a lot of shit.
Once again, they just know how to shift gears. So this is what I think, like, once again, what we were talking about earlier,
mm-hmm.
of this is how they stay consistently at that, like, level that they're at.
Right.
Is that they're able to kind of pump the brakes real quick and, like, slow it down a little bit, let the suspense build back up. Once again, here's a little bit more information, here's a little bit more reveal, a little bit more backstory, just enough for you to, like, once again, get clear again. Okay, cool. Let's build some suspense, and then all right, let's get back into this story and get back into this shit. And then now you're going back, and that's how they're just able to stay at such that consistent level. Where once we were talking about AOT, where AOT was very we're about to ramp you up to the craziest climax, and then we're just gonna drop back down,
Mm-hmm. I
and then
agree.
we're gonna, we're gonna start ramping back up to this. They do it differently, but I think for each respective show and what they're trying to do, it works for that. Like, I don't think that same type of um game plan would be able to work for Full Metal. I don't
No.
think they'll be able to do those peaks like that, like how AOT does. But AOT, I feel, has enough kind of like they have enough moments where you can do that, but also have, after those moments, there's so much like fucking backstory and history and things you got to learn and connect the dots with. Where when you
Mm,
have those in between moments of those climaxes, you're able to just kind of indulge on a lot of fucking information at once.
absolutely. There's a lot of dialogue. You got to go through. You got to parse through a lot of dialogue with these people. You got to parse through a lot of the backstory and stuff like that. And I think with uh with Full Metal Alchemist, they pretty much give it to you on the single silver platter. Marco tells Scar about the events of the war. He says the war began due to soldier envy killing a child, and the tension due to annexation of Ishval by Amestris was too much to bear, and the war begins. And it's a war that goes on for 7 years. And at the seventh year, King Bradley signs an executive order to call in the state alchemists to the front lines. The alchemists, absolutely, the Saiyans, show up and start wrecking shit, wiping out so many people, killing so many people, ravaging the entire thing by war. And everyone is ravaged by war, including the military themselves, because they were like, yo, alchemy's supposed to help people, not kill people. And they're making fun of it because, like, what's my man's name? Kimberly was like, yo, y'all pussies. Um, you know, you signed up to be a soldier, but now you're getting a little depressed because you got to kill a couple people. Like, that's what this alchemist shit is about. And people are like, this guy should not be in the military. Like, that's all I said. I was like, he's
I mean,
doing a
not the
lot.
right guy.
Yeah, shit happens to him, but he's a bad guy. Um, the war was truly though for the Philosopher's Stone, and many warriors are brought to Laboratory 5, where their souls would be drawn out and condensed into a stone. And the stone was given to Kimberly, who I think he killed his brother with it. And eventually, the war ends. Um, so it's a whole backstory episode. It's a pretty good backstory episode, to be honest with you. Um, and then at the end of the episode, Envy is going to bring food to Marco and comes and sees Marco is dead, and that on the wall, written in blood by none other than Scar himself, is vengeance. And that is how we end things here. Um, Lots of reveals in this part of the show. Lots and lots and lots of reveals. It's We get to learn a number of things going on, and we were learning a little bit more. There's still questions. Don't get me wrong. There's still questions. Where the hell are these
Oh yeah,
circles at?
it's not, they ain't tell us too much, but they tell us just enough.
They told us a lot. Um, but I think this was a great set of episodes. And at the halfway point, I feel like we've learned a lot. There's a lot of action, and I think we've suffered enough losses. We're at the point now where we've suffered the losses, so now we have to go start searching for the wins. And I know this next set of episodes, we actually got a lot of ground to cover for our next episodes. Um, we are covering. Let me look at this list. Where is it? For our next batch of episodes, we are covering episodes 31 through 43, I believe. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, but for all I know, it's episode 31 through 43, so it's a little bit longer than what we're used to. But that's where we'll be next episode. Trying to figure out, like, listen, we down on the ropes. We down, but we not out. So where does the story go from here? Actually, not fully sure. I forgot everything that happens after this point. Um, but we do. Actually, I could probably do a little synopsis. You know what I'm saying? Um, no, I'm on the Attack on Titan fandom. Oops. Uh,
Look at you. You can't even stop yourself.
I couldn't even stop myself. Let's see. Rush Valley arc. Hunt for the Homunculi arc. Scar's Return arc. Belly of the Beast arc. Scars of Ishval arc. And now we are at the Briggs arc. Actually, that goes to episode 45. So
All right,
31 through 45.
we're on for the ride. Let's lock in.
Listen, let's lock in. I forget what happens during this Briggs arc, but I'm sure it's a lot of great shit. Actually, I figured what happens, but we're on for the ride. We're almost there. Actually, after this episode, if we do cover 31 through 45, after this,
We just gonna
whew,
run it to the end.
it might be. It looks like the home stretch, even though that home stretch is about 20 episodes. But but um, we'll see. Maybe we'll split it up into one half and the other half. Um, 31 through 45 next week, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, of course. You can subscribe to the Lookout on RNC Radio, anywhere there are podcasts. You can follow the Lookout on Lookout RNC anywhere, Twitter, Instagram. That's pretty much it. Any final thoughts before we head out of here this week, LJ?
Um, just keep staying on this journey of alchemy with us. Also, just let us know what you're watching. What other new stuff? What are things y'all trying to hear next?
Ninja Kamui is what I'm keep getting, and I haven't watched it yet. I think I'm gonna watch it after this.
Even after I told you, look at that.
No. Yeah, you told me, but I still ain't find the time to watch
No,
it.
I'm saying though, like
But I'm getting more of it.
Ninja Conways is it's gaining some traction.
I'm getting a lot more of it. Like, hey, have you watched this?
What's another big I think this year's anime awards would
Solo
probably be
leveling,
more
I think.
competitive than this
S-
than
Yeah,
yeah, this year.
solo leveling is another one that I'm hearing. Even though I didn't like the first episode, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna watch it. Whatever. But we're almost at the spring season anyway, so there should be My Heroes back,
MHA
Demon
is coming
Slayer's
up.
back. Yeah, a lot of stuff is coming back in the spring, so we'll be
There's
done with this by the time spring anime actually begins.
oh yeah, for sure.
um,
April 5th is or is it April 5th? April 5th, April 6th, big day for MHA.
no, it's going to the first couple episodes are going to be recap
Oh yeah,
episodes.
it's all the recap stuff.
Yeah. So they're doing that thing. I'm assuming to buy more time because the manga is not done yet. Um, but we're here.
I'm trying to think of even where in the manga would be a good stopping point for them.
Without spoiling. I'm just
Yeah.
assuming it's going to get to at least one of these major battles. It might end with with
Might end with stabby stabby. Stabby stabby stitchy stitchy.
No. I think it'll end with the family, the Todoroki family.
Okay, yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
That's a nice
So
spot.
yeah, ladies and gents, until next time, we'll be back on the lookout. Take care. Peace.